Is there anybody there?
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you are listening to this podcast episode. Thank you very much. My name is Ed, and welcome to part number two. I'm an idiot. Part number two of my conversation with Allan Miller. He is one of the creators of the wonderful new brand, Official League. They are taking over, guys. I'm telling you, they've got some cool teams that they're working with. You guys got to take a look at his website. But anyways, before you do that, why don't you listen to this episode? Or while you're listening to this episode, check out his website. We go into why they created the brand, some of the things that he takes as inspiration to creating some of those cool silhouettes, the hats, some of the materials that they use, things like that. And then obviously, guys, we go into my famous, not so famous questions. So guys, without further ado, I'll give you the episode.
I just think there's a couple things. I mean, it's great to learn about them, but it's also there's a lot of teams around the world that do things really, really well that we can learn a lot from. And so it's fun to learn from them, understand what works great in their business. It gives us more things to try here. And candidly, I take everything from the Mexican Baseball League. I don't think anyone in the world does it better than them. And if we can get to a point where that's sort of what baseball is here, I will be very happy.
What do you mean? Like the way that they play, the way the entertainment side of
I think the
things?
way they create, I think they're very conscious
Mhm.
of every single game being an event
Mhm.
and treating it as an event
Yep.
and not being it's not. People love baseball in Mexico. I mean, there are parts that are bigger than soccer in Mexico, and so their fan base is incredible. They understand what a party atmosphere is. They
Mhm.
they're there to have fun, to be loud, to sing, to dance. Most stadiums, you walk out and there's a bar and a stage in the parking lot, and they will go till 3 in the morning.
Mm.
It's just things that aren't part of our culture. And you can see, I mean, you can see major league teams working through music in similar ways now and trying to build those out. San Diego's doing a good job with that. Baltimore's doing a great job with that. The Guardians are doing a great job building that out. So you're seeing a lot of influence of how they do things and how you talk
Mhm.
about a shorter game, how to keep them there longer. I think you just do a better job of making it an event and making people feel like it's the greatest thing ever, and they have to be there. But it's a really fun thing to study how they do it, how much fun they have, what their engagement looks like. They're very, very good at it.
You know what? You're absolutely right. Like, I mean, and that's what something that I've been saying. It's like, oh yeah, the games are shorter. Yes. However, you have to look at it from the other point of view. It's like, there is the before the game, after the game, there is that entertainment part that keeps them longer. They may not necessarily be watching the game because the game is over, but at least they're, like with the Guardians right there, you're in between the queue and the progressive field. So there could be a lot of opportunities that could be had right there as far as, like you said, a party environment that keeps them there, food trucks or, events, whatever, they
Yep.
can have them there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's where we're going, and I think it's great. I mean, I can't tell you how many teams I've seen were like, "Oh, we're opening doors earlier this year. You can come in and do other things." And this whole like games are shorter, so you lose money is a false narrative. I think that's just not something that's necessarily happening. But it is a good reminder that we have to be really mindful of the engagement with people and understanding that we have to give them a product that's better than other people are offering, so that they will come and they will spend the day and
Yeah.
they will have a great time there.
How frustrating is it for you to see when there's a team that hasn't really embraced that? When you're looking at it from, because like obviously you're not looking at it from the sporting event side, right?
Right.
You got those very teams that are very conservative and they're not able to adapt quickly to that. Like, how frustrating for you is it? Like, you want to just go in and start making some changes right away.
I've literally walked through stadiums and then said I could make three changes here and they would make $100,000. And but at the end of the day, it's interesting. When we think about it, it's like I don't think they want to. I just think they are coming from a place where that isn't fun for them and it's not comfortable for them. And they wouldn't want to. They are uncomfortable making those changes. But to me, yeah, it's super frustrating. I think it's a wasted opportunity. It's worse when it's teams that I root for. That makes it doubly frustrating. But this is like it's a tough time right now, and you're going to start to see teams that aren't evolving will be sold to people that will continue to make them more interesting.
Let me ask you that because then when you come in that level, there has to be that level of, like you said, discomfort that you got to get past in order to sit back and say, it's like, yeah, we really need to change, embrace change, or we're going to be out and they're going to bring somebody in.
Yeah, I think that change is uncomfortable.
It is
Change is
100%.
uncomfortable and it's hard but it's the only constant. And if you aren't able to do that, you're not going to evolve. And I'm been very fortunate. We do that hard, and we have a very specific direction of where we want to go, and we've had enough successes in a lot of our ventures now to know that yeah, it is the right. It is. You do have to change. You do have to be uncomfortable. You do have to take some element of people saying, "Well, we've never done it that way before," and be like, "Well, we're going to do it
You're
this
doing
way
it now.
and there is a lot of blind trust in that, and it is really hard for people who haven't seen it or don't have the vision of where it can be, until you have success, and it's slow moving. But I think that's why you look back and say, hey, 3 months ago we didn't have a broadcast or a social media. We was last in the league in social media, and now we're a top 5 team in all of single A baseball and social media.
Jesus.
We have the stats to prove that people are engaging. It's better, and we're seeing the tangible results, and you can't argue with stats.
And not to bash them, because obviously I'm still a fan, but like it was very frustrating for me as someone who was there going in before, and you're like, man, there's a lot of missed opportunities here. The lack of social media was really hard to embrace, because I'm someone who does a podcast and everything. Is like, I want to be able to embrace you and to help you, but like, I can't help you if you're not going to help me, or I can't, support something that just is not there. And when you say, give me that stat that you're going from last on social media to now you're being on top 5 on minor league baseball, that speaks volume.
I think it does, and I think it's why you got to keep reminding people, like, yeah, this is what is working. The stadium will fill with 10,000 people when we get there, but you're creating positive experiences every day with people, and it's working. And it'll continue to build. And you're absolutely right. You want to engage, and if they're not there to open up and say hi and invite you out and and be a part of it, it's a lost opportunity, and it will continue to get worse and worse and worse until you go out there. I mean, it is. I will say this for everyone who runs a sports team out there, or works for a sports team. It's one of the hardest jobs in the world. You
Oh,
got to be good.
100%.
You got to be skilled. And you got to have people that are good at so many different disciplines, that it is really a challenge. So, it's hard to move mountains, but it's absolutely worth it once you get to the top.
I always say that, just because your title says something in minor league baseball does not mean you're going to be not pulling the tarp, or you're not going to be selling concessions, or you're going to be doing this or that. That's your title. That's what your primary job function is. But then you got to look at the sub, titles that you have after that. And this is extremely hard job, long hours away from family and things like that. And you got to be dedicated to that.
You do. You got to love it. I mean, I always say sports is just like music. You're not in it because you're looking for this big payday. You're doing it because you love it. You love every minute of it. You love being around it. You love working with the team. You love making other people better. It's a tremendous, and we're very tremendous experience, and we're so lucky that we get to work in this field, because it's like I said, it's very hard. No one was going to give me a shot in this field until I could show people how to do it differently.
Mm-hmm.
And our way is different than a lot of people. But we had to go in there and show them that there's a different way. Other people weren't just going to be like, sure, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Weird on Twitter and see how it works out for us.
It's funny because, and obviously you've already built that data set, right? That's like Portland Pickles, Cleburne, and now, minor league baseball. But obviously minor league baseball is a little bit different, right? Like you gotta do a little things different. but it shows that it's working. Just the simple fact that you're having a broadcast team, that's like, that's like you just move one mountain just with that alone.
Yeah.
Of like the frustrating part of like, all right, I'm looking for, have to wait until they go on the road for me to
Right.
play, to see them
Right.
play.
Right. Right. It's crazy. I mean, you got you got to make it easy for people. You got to expose them to what the opportunity and the environment is. But yeah, that's why those things they're baseline. You got
Mhm.
to have these things. You got to have them. Then you can start to get weird and wacky and adding all kinds of things to it. We're pushing like 7, 8 cameras in Portland now, doing drone footage and all kinds of fun things. But you got to start with a couple. You got to start with 2 cameras, and then you got to work your way up to, live, all kinds of other things you might want to do as well.
So let's talk about and let's talk about the captains, because obviously you go in and then you can pretty much say, I'll say I was like, there was a blank canvas. There was a lot of things that needed to be done. What are some of obviously you have the arcade, you have the speakeasy, which is beautiful.
Thank you.
But what are some of the things that you guys are working on that are not necessarily going to be done this year, but in the next year or so?
I mean, a lot. It's, I mean, there is a lot to be done. I mean, even from a baseline, like I said, we have to we need a new field. We have a
Mhm.
field going into. We're working on a new scoreboard. We've got a
Oh,
bunch of
nice.
pixels knocked out on that scoreboard. That's been a big challenge. I mean, everything from. I mean, we have it's a 20-year-old stadium. It's got incredible bones, but it has a lot of work to do for the details. Everything from from painting to redoing all the suites to creating much more interesting group areas, creating outdoor lounge areas. One of the things that I think really I hear more than anything is how much everyone loves the Adirondack chairs that are sitting out in left field. You can hang out there, right on the left fielder, and
Yep.
just give just giving them shit all day. And I think it's incredible. I think more things like that will continuously help where we're going. But even from like a food and beverage, we had to start from scratch, start from a
Mhm.
much smaller menu and build out from there. What are the core classics? What do people want? And then keep going. But from promotional nights to new areas, I mean, we are gonna, we want this to be a creative beacon in the Midwest and beyond. Our expectation is that people in the next few years will want to come here and see this, because there's going to be nothing like it in any other stadium in North America.
Can we talk about the small lighthouse then? Because that is very small. If we're a team named after the captains, you got a very small lighthouse. I don't know what was going on with that thing.
Well, it's worse now because the lighthouse had to be removed because there was MLB needed a much bigger batter's eye. So
Oh
our
my god!
lighthouse, which was first of all was so small you couldn't even see it, is gone now.
Oh my god!
We
That's
created
hilarious.
we created a new one out of a tarp that we tarped over all the bleachers this year, so the player can hit it, you win prizes. Actually, my idea right now is there's a lighthouse that's being auctioned off outside of Cleveland. So we're hoping to bid for a real lighthouse and bring it into the stadium. That's our
That
current.
would be amazing.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love it. I love it. That's great. You know what? Yes, absolutely. Classic. I love it. Love it. And
Thank
obviously you're going to have, let's talk about, now this is something that I've been wanting to do also, is let's talk about merchandise for that team, because now you're going to be introducing more things to them. Yes, the 47s are going to be there. The new eras are going to be there. Uh, Official league is going to be there, but you're going to be offering different options for fans that are not necessarily looking to get your traditional
you.
merchandise for that.
Yeah, and this is where we started halfway in. So we've been developing new merchandise,
Mhm.
new designs. I think that's what's been so successful about that art series, that I was it doesn't always go that fast, but this was our fourth home series, and as I said, it was a top seller, and for the new design, and that
That's
was really
amazing.
cool. And so it shows to me that people are interested in this, and they like that creativity, and they like supporting local artists. And that's not always the case. So I think that
Yeah.
was a really encouraging sign to do that. Once we start getting some official league products in there, we'll be able to mix it up, do a lot more releases, try a bunch of things that are maybe really interesting secondary characters. I mean, we do have a new mascot. We've got, two mascots always kind of, have beef with each other now. There's a lot of stories that we get to tell. And I think getting to tell those through merch is going to be a lot of fun.
I love that. And the fact that you guys are just doing everything, I mean, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. All of that. That's great. Congratulations to you guys. I mean, the fact that you're able to go into minor league baseball, like, let me ask you then, like, what made you decide? Because obviously, the reputation of Portland Pickles and Cleburne, it's something that's like, all right, they're on the edge. But
Yeah.
what made you guys decide just like, you know what, we can go into minor league baseball and we can do this within, the construct of Major League Baseball's rules?
Yeah, I think we wanted to help. I mean, I really think it comes from I mean, I always love a challenge,
Yeah.
especially a tough one. And I'm a huge minor league baseball fan. I really, that is my thing. I love going to new teams, seeing new experiences all over the place. So I really wanted the challenge, and I wanted people to, I just wanted to show that there's, we can toe that line. And I think that, to Major League Baseball's credit, they've been very encouraging to us and been very supportive of what we're trying to do. And they'll let us know if we're crossing a line.
Like, you might want to back it up a little bit.
Yeah, like, come on, and they've been good about that. And so, but I'm been very, it's not this, it's not, I would go into a procedure. Oh, they're not the no fun league. That's the NFL. The Major League Baseball, to their credit, and I think you see it and feel it. I think the new rule changes have been extraordinary. I think their, ability to kind of embrace a lot of new things has been great. And I think they're bringing in a lot of new audiences because of it. So, I think they're very open to new things when they're done in smart, respectful ways. And so we can be better once we have more experience understanding that, what they like, what they don't like, and hopefully, like I said, we want to make the sport better. We want to make the experience better, and I think having a larger stage to do that will only make everyone better as we get this through the next few years.
I love it. Love it. One last questions, and then I promise I will go into my famous, not so famous questions here. But it has to do with official league, and I'm very interested in like the process of the design of not just the logo, right, but the design of the hat, like, the material that goes into it, and all of that. Like, how walk me through that process of that design, because it's so like fascinating to me.
Yeah, no, it's fascinating to me too. I really think that it's probably, like I said, we spent a lot of time working on that and trying to develop like what is the best dad hat, and what material should that be, and what should the brim be, and we went through a ton of trial and error to get it to a place that we felt was not too deep. Like, I can wear this hat, it's not,
Yeah.
and I can wear it both ways, and I felt like it's this the cotton soft as it should be. Pieces are right. The fit to me was very important, and it's hard because you're dealing with different size heads.
Yeah.
So I think one of the things that we need to get better at too is helping people to understand: are you a curved brim guy? Are you a flat brim guy? What is your face? What are you made for? And I think when I talk about and I look back at the last 20 years, I was like, I would only wear a fitted hat for 5 years. Then I was only wearing dad hats for 2 years. And I was only wearing I don't wear trucker hats, but beyond that, and I know, I keep moving from different silhouettes based on different things. And I think that there's a progression to that, but we want to make the best of all those. We want to have a phenomenal wool hat. We want to have a great, trucker hat. We're working on some new silhouettes now, to figure out some other solutions for things. But we're solving for us. Like, we put it on, we're like, wow, that's a great fit. That's what we like. And then we stick to it. Like, that's our hat. We're not messing with it. And then
It's working. Let's not try to reinvent it. We're good. We got this.
Exactly. So it's a lot. The detail that you is true. I mean, we do spend a lot of time trying to make the fabrics correct, the fits correct, the design elements correct. And there's really no rules to this, so we're going to, keep trying things. I mean, I'm a minimalist from a design perspective. I really am. I'm not a fan of. And part of the reason why I think we are this way now is because a lot of the design trend has been big, bold, huge designs,
Mhm.
upside down designs. Look at me, look at me, look at me. And our designs, I think in general, are much more subtle. They're much more minimalist. They're really designed front forward, not like a big style
Mhm.
person. And so that's kind of the direction that we like going in. But when we work with a team, they're like, we want to do something crazy. We can do crazy very quickly also.
I remember looking at a set of dad heads that you guys did for the NBA. And one of the things that I really enjoyed, besides just, like the number on the strap in the back, but like the fact like you had the logo in the front, but then you had a very small basketball right in the back, a very small detail that just made that hat just a whole higher level than not otherwise you would have on a lot of hats. And that's not a lot of teams do that. Not a lot of companies do that, which is, they put their own logo in there, but they don't do those small details.
Totally. I think to your point, that is a reason that can make it prohibitive too. I mean, you'll notice we aren't on the outside of any of our hats purposefully.
Mhm,
We want to give the whole canvas to the team. And so dropping extra details on it sometimes can clash if you have a big logo creep on the side.
mhm,
So we intentionally said, we'll brand inside the hat, but we leave that up to figuring out how to create little small details, as you said, that I think really ties the story together. And when you look at I think you're speaking of the paint collection, and you see how we
yeah, yeah,
logo at the front, and then you kind of look to the back, and it's like, oh, that's Paint's design piece. That's his logo mark. That's at the bottom, and that tells you the story that, oh, this is his really funny design based on this character on this
yep.
thing. So I think when you talk about storytelling, I think those are really important parts to tell the bigger story.
It's interesting you say that. It's like, you're telling a story with each hat. That that's so like that's profound, man. That's good.
Thank you.
I love it. Love it. I'm gonna, we're I wanna I've been, every time I see a hat that I'm about to go get, and it's like literally it comes out and it's like sold out. So I'm gonna have to I have to get faster with my keyboard, man, because man, you guys sell them out like quick.
Yes,
So
you got to know somebody.
hey,
Maybe you can put a quick word in. And I can see if I can hold something for you.
we'll talk. Well, I might get a hold of that person. We'll see how this works out. All right. So are you ready, my friend?
Let's let's go.
All right. So the first question I ask everybody is you're going to, let's say you're going to the captain's game, and what would be your food and drink of choice?
Well, I always try for a local IPA, so that's my beverage choice. So whatever
Mhm.
the local for the captains, that's Saucy or Brew Kettle. I go back and forth on those guys.
Oh, they're
Um,
good. Yeah.
and I will generally try. I would go towards a higher level sausage. That's kind of my move. I would see. I usually try to do whatever that stadium does that I haven't seen before. So whether it's the crab fries that you find in some the New Jersey spots, or everyone's got their unique thing. So I generally would try with the unique spot, what they have that no one else has.
I like it. And that's good, right? Like for example, it's like, the Chicago Dome in Chicago, or like whatever it is in that specific ballpark. Cleveland has like with the mac and cheese and the Fruit Loops on it and all that.
You know what Cleveland has? Mustard, man. You got to
Oh
get
yeah.
mustard. That is the secret jam to Cleveland. Great mustard.
Hey man, listen, I went to Cleveland in December, and I came back with some Burtman's mustard
That's
because
right.
they don't sell them here in North Carolina. I had to come back with that. I'm gonna
I
eat,
did
you know
the
what? I'm
same
gonna eat some
thing.
hot dogs today.
Same thing, man. That's what you got to do.
I love that. I think that's amazing. Okay, so let's see. Um, what has been the most interesting place you've ever been to?
That's really hard. I've really been a lot of places all over the world. The most interesting place I've ever been, Latvia is pretty interesting.
Is it?
Latvia. You get into some of those Eastern European places where you get into a hockey game. It's pretty exciting. It's pretty
That's
exciting.
awesome. I
Yeah.
love that. If you could have one superpower, what would that be?
I'm gonna want to fly.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I got to
Yeah.
get around quick. I got to move quicker. If I can get to these teams in just a real quick spot, that's my goal. I'm just trying to cut down transit times these days.
And you know what? With traffic nowadays, you're right. Like it's just bam, boom, out. We're out of here.
Out.
Okay. Do you agree with the notion that pineapple does belong on a pizza?
I'm okay with it. I'm okay with I am okay. I am okay with it. It's not my order necessarily, but I'm not going to I'm not gonna say anything bad about it.
I love that. I was like, you know what? If it's there, it's there. If it's not, then it's not. Let's go with that.
There's worse things you can find on a pizza.
Very true. That very true. Okay. What was your very first video game?
Oh,
It's okay. You can say
I'm gonna,
shit.
you know
It's
what?
okay.
No, I'm gonna. Okay, thank. You know what? I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna go back. I was gonna say, I'm gonna say Pong. I think Pong was Pong was the OG.
That
I was just watching the Atari thing the other day, and I was like, I think I was gonna say Asteroids, but it's either Asteroids, but I want to say it was original Pong.
that's awesome. I like that. That's a great game. No, to this day, it's like
Great
it
game.
goes.
Don't forget, the simplest are always the best. You always go back to the classics because they're simple.
We like human beings. We like to complicate the bologna sandwich. That's just how it goes.
Uh-huh.
All right. So let's see. What has been the craziest bet that you have ever made?
I bet that my Chargers would win the Super Bowl,
Mm, mm.
and they were in it, and that
Uh,
never came to fruition.
Yeah.
And
Same.
that is never a good bet.
I'm a Browns fan. I get it. I understand. I get,
Eh,
it did happen. Is cereal, do you consider cereal to be a soup?
No, I do not.
Good man. That is a great answer. All right, a couple more here. Okay. So what is your spirit animal?
Pass.
Who would win in a fight between Superman and Batman?
I think this was proven out, right? I
Yep.
mean, I think we have a movie to showcase that obviously Batman is way better.
Yeah, it is.
He
You know
won,
what?
Superman
That
died.
he
I mean,
had
come
the
on.
coolest toys. Let's be honest, too.
It's way better. It's way better. He's just a dude with great toys. He's way better.
Okay. If animals could talk, who would be the biggest a-hole of the animals? Just
My dog.
That's it. They're like, no, it is my dog. That's my dog. I like it. All right, and last one. Out of all of the Disney princes, okay, which one would make the best spy?
What?
Yes, sir.
Wait, repeat this question.
Okay, out of all the Disney princesses, right? You got Moana, you got Cinderella, and all of. Which one would make the best spy?
What's the one that climbed out the window? Rapunzel?
Yeah, with the long
Rapunzel
hair.
has some skills. Yeah, that seemed to be that I would lean towards the one with the giant hair to start.
Giant
But
hair, big
I
cast iron.
could be turned. Yeah, I could be turned if there was somebody who had better skill set that I'm just not familiar with.
That question came out of my 4-year-old daughter. Like, I mean, I watch a lot of Disney movies here in the house, so it's just how that goes.
Who did she say? Who does she think?
Yeah, it all depends on when you ask her, to be honest with you. Depends on what her mood is. She will tell you it'll probably be one of the girls from Frozen right now. That's probably one of the ones.
That's fair.
So there you
I
go.
can see that. Yeah.
Allan, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you so much for coming on. I greatly appreciate it. At this point, I will ask you, it's like, where can people find you, your teams on the socials, or do you want me to just put the list and then, let's go with that?
Pickles, Official League, Lake County Captains, go get it. It's all out there. Check out officialleague.com. There's a phenomenal selection of all kinds of interesting teams that you probably haven't heard of, and some you have.
And I love it. And that's great. Thank you so much. And then we'll stay in touch.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
I hope you guys enjoyed that episode with Allan. And Allan, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I had a blast. Thank you so much. I learned a lot about Official League, why the Lake County Captains was such a good investment for you guys, as well as the great brand that is the Portland Pickles. So make sure you guys are following all of those teams. Go to their website, officialleague.com. And then also, why don't you go and do me a favor? Hit the like button and subscribe to this podcast as well, and tell one more friend about it. But before I go, guys, I'm going to give you guys the dad joke of the episode, and here it is. What do you call a crafty pig? Cunningham. All right. I see myself out. And until then, guys, keep on grinding and always support the minor leagues. See ya.